Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Today I have a Netflix exclusive review for you guys. I'm going to review a BBC America television series with the name of Doctor Who. I'm going to talk about the first season, all 13 episodes. I am sure whether you live in the UK or in the United States or anywhere else in the world, you probably most likely know about the BBC show by the name of Doctor Who. But just in case you don't, just in case you're unaware, let me give you a little bit of brief history behind it, just that way you can be aware of it. So from what I understand, Doctor Who was originally, of course, a black and white television series from the early 60s. I believe 1963, according to my sources, where it first, when it first came around, and then I believe it ran all the way to the year of 1989. So it ran for a good long time. It went on a good, 15-year break, and then it was just actually readapted, not really readapted, but pretty much just came back in general in '05, and it's been running and still is running ever since. Just recently they had the whole, 50th year anniversary. The Doctor being around for 50 years. And they had that whole special, that actually went and saw in theaters in 3D, which was actually really cool. And because of that, I went to Netflix and watched the entire first season of Doctor Who, the BBC America television channel show, and enjoyed it very much. And let me tell you guys a little bit about the plot, and now a little bit of history. But it stars, the first season mainly stars Christopher Eccleston, and then also stars Billie Piper. Obviously, Christopher Eccleston plays the Doctor, and Billie Piper plays the role of Rose Tyler, otherwise known as the Doctor's first companion in the year of 2005. So, Doctor Who, what does he do? He travels around in his TARDIS time machine, the phone booth or the police box, whatever you want to call it. Travels around in this TARDIS, destroying aliens, saving the Earth from destruction, and that's pretty much the plot. That's pretty much the gist of it. Rose Tyler, at first she's a regular human being, regular person, and as she goes on, she ends up becoming something a little more extraordinary. She ends up actually having a life. She doesn't have a job. She still lives at home, and she wants to go on somewhat of an adventure. And that's when the Doctor comes in and says, hey, you can come with me, you can have a better life, you can save the world with me. And they pretty much go on all these adventures together, and that's pretty much the plot of the first season of the BBC America television show by the name of Doctor Who. Now, what did I think of the first 13 episodes? Well, let's talk about the cons first, because overall, it's not a perfect season, but once you see that season finale, it becomes one because that season finale was so great. But let's talk about a few of the cons first before I praise the series so much, because it does have a lot of good things. But there's a few little nitpicky issues. They're not that big of a deal because from what I know, from what I saw, the series really does make up for it in that season finale. But some of my nitpicking issues is that sometimes the show comes off a little goofy. There are particular episodes, I think roughly episodes 5, and then I think, 5 or 6 episodes later, I believe in episode 10 or 11, I believe it was episode 10, where there are these farting aliens, and the reason they fart is because of the whole calcium decay. Their stomach starts to make noises, and I think it's supposed to come off in a funny way, but to me, it came off in more of a dumb or goofy way. There were several times in the BBC America television show by the name of Doctor Who for season 1, the first 13 episodes, there were several times when it becomes a little goofy or a little ridiculous. And I believe in the first episode, a trash can eats a guy, and I think some of these scenes are supposed to come off funny, make the show kind of fun, because I remember watching some interviews and stuff of a certain episode where the creator, I'm not for sure if it was Stephen Moffat, who wrote the 50th anniversary, but someone said that the show's supposed to come off in a fun way. And I do believe at times the Doctor Who does come off in a fun way, but there's other times where, it doesn't come off fun or funny. It just comes off kind of dumb and goofy. And honestly, I'd rather it just not be there. I'd rather just the goofiness just go away in general. I don't mind the show being funny. I don't mind the show having some laughter and some hilarious details in there. But as long as they're trickled in and put it in the right manner. But overall, that's really my only nitpicking issue. That's about it. For the most part, I love the first season of Doctor Who. I think Christopher Eccleston plays a great Doctor. I will say his character, I guess another little nitpicky issue, his character does get a little goofy. It's not his acting, it's the writing of his character with the quirky smiles, and I think it's only him that does that. Every other Doctor after that, David Tennant, Matt Smith, those, every other Doctor, they seem to have a fun vibe to them, but for some reason it was his writing of his Doctor that he came off a little goofy. But overall, I don't think he's a bad actor. I really like Christopher Eccleston. There's great times during the science fiction, dramatic scenes where he's a very, dramatic character, plays his character in a great way. You can really feel sympathy for him. And overall, I really liked his portrayal of the Doctor. He was great. He was fun to watch. There's scenes where you can really feel for him. You know that he only wants the best for his companion, played by Billie Piper, the British actress playing the character of Rose Tyler, as I said earlier, the companion girl character. And she's really cool. Billie Piper is definitely my favorite person. She plays her character in a role where you really get to feel sympathy for her. I love her character. I actually, most people probably like the Doctor more, but I actually liked Billie Piper more. I'm not for sure how the case is going to be when David Tennant gets introduced, because, big spoilers coming up. He regenerates in the finale, and David Tennant gets introduced, and then I guess later on, David Tennant, regenerates into Matt Smith's character. And I love that whole regeneration concept, really cool. So that was really cool. But overall, I really enjoyed Billie Piper's performance. She plays her character in a very sympathetic and compassionate way, as same with the Doctor, but even more so. You can really feel for her character, wanting to be at home, but also not only wanting to be at home, but wanting to go on adventures with the Doctor, not because she's better than everyone else, as she says in the season finale, not because she's better than everyone else, but because she wants something more out of life. She wants something better, and she believes that better life is traveling with the Doctor. I love that whole concept there. There are some great little horror vibes. I guess, whoever wrote some of these episodes is a big fan of horror films. Some zombie, maybe even zombie films too, such as Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead. Excuse me, not Dawn of the Living Dead. Anyways, so because the reason I say that is just this part where mannequins are breaking into windows. There's an episode where these kids have gas masks, and there's some very, not really creepy, I guess you could say some very eerie concepts where they really play themselves off as a horror vibe. So there are some really great horror vibes in there, some really great suspenseful action sequences. But now that I've talked about a good chunk of the first season, let me talk about the season finale. The season finale was downright awesome. One of my favorite things about the first season, they pop up twice in the first season, is the Daleks. The Daleks are great. I love the voice of the Daleks. I believe it's the same guy who plays all of them, maybe except for the God of the Daleks. But I love, there's a quote that the God of the Daleks says, where he says pretty much, how the creation of the Daleks got started, how they're half human, half machine, being created. I love that quote. Those Daleks are really cool. The finale not only blends action, but it blends action, drama, sentiment, great, sentiment and sentimentality scenes, and overall, I really enjoyed. I love the whole, the whole big bad wolf concept, where they're being lingered by this big bad wolf, the spray, the spray paint that the kid did on the phone booth, the police box, whatever you want to call it, and this bad wolf has been lurking over them this entire first season, and finally in the finale, you find out that it's a link between Billie Piper, Rose Tyler, and the Doctor's character, and I love that concept. You find out that she's actually the bad wolf, and she is the link to saving his life, and I love that concept. That's just a really cool thing. They kissed there at the end. That was just a really nice, dramatic, and scene with lots of sentiment and sentimentality to it. So overall, that was really cool. Another thing I enjoyed in Doctor Who was the whole mystery element of you not knowing who the Doctor is, and then I love those little hints that you find out every now and then. Anyways, it's a great mysterious element, plays off in a very serious and dramatic way. As I said earlier, every now and then you're given little hints of who he is, big spoilers coming up. You find out he's a Time Lord, you find out he's the last of his race, you found out that something went on and some sort of thing called the Time War, and I love those little, those little trickles, those little details of hints. And I'm sure as the seasons go on, even as, he regenerates, they'll keep giving little more hints. And I love that whole build-up, because in the 50th anniversary, even bigger spoiler coming up, you actually get to see that Time War take place. So it's a great build-up. It's a long time later, 7 or 8 years later, but you get to see those little details they hinted at in season, in the first season in 05, you get to see those things come to life in the 50th anniversary. So that's really cool. Overall, it's a great first season of Doctor Who, and I can't wait to see where the series is going to go. It's overall just fun to watch, and like I said, if I was to rate Doctor Who a 1 out of 10, I'm going to go ahead and give it a solid 10 out of 10. I'm not going to let those nitpicky issues bring it down to a 9, because that season finale really made up for the rest of the show. It was just, it played itself off in a great manner, and just those Daleks are just really cool. That's my review of the BBC America television series by the name of Doctor Who for the first season, all 13 episodes. So if we head over my TV, as always, my Netflix exclusive reviews, I'll show you guys the first season. Okay, everyone, as always in my Netflix exclusive reviews, I always like to show you guys the series that or TV show, movie, whatever it might be. That way you guys do know that it is on Netflix as of right now. I'm sure Netflix won't be taking off Doctor Who anytime in the future. Anyways, as you can see the PG rating, 05, 86 episodes currently, categories cast, 5-star gold rating. Just wanted to show you guys too. You can see that I currently I rewound. You can see that I was on season 1 of episode 13 because I rewound a certain scene because there was a nice quote that I wanted to put on my Facebook. So anyways, that's that, and pretty soon I'll probably be starting season 2, but for right now I'm going to go back to watching Mad Men on Netflix. I'm really enjoying that recently. Anyways, so once again, thanks for watching another video by Centipede Geek for my Netflix exclusive review of the BBC America television show Doctor Who for the first season. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to my page below, and I will see you guys later with more videos by Centipede Geek.